What's up? I'm Miles and welcome back to another episode of... We still don't have an intro, do we? I feel like my intro is just going to be every week I talk about how I don't have an intro. That's consistent. Anyway, welcome back. If you don't know, I do Spider-Man cosplays quite a lot. I do a lot of Spider-Man cosplays and I have a lot of pieces and I've been doing them for a decent amount of time. And in that time, I've gotten a lot of questions. One question I get a lot is, what is a face shell? Now, if you don't know what a face shell is, then this question is exactly for you. If you do know what the face shell is, but you don't know what it is, this video is also for you. That made no sense. Clearly, I'm a professional at this. Anyway, if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, I made 2 big videos on this a while back that kind of got a lot of traction. And I kind of blew a lot of people's minds who didn't actually know what a face shell was. So, in this video, instead of being an informative video about a face shell, this is going to be a directed video towards cosplayers in terms of informing them about a face shell. Basically, this is everything you might need to know about what a Spider-Man face shell is, where to get it, how to apply it, and the best things to do with it for your Spider-Man cosplays. A face shell is a very crucial piece for a Spider-Man suit that not a lot of people actually know about. In my first suit, I had no clue what it was. Didn't even know it was a thing. But now it's one of my staples and it's one thing that I really preach everyone should use to bring your Spider-Man cosplays to the next level. So, with all that being said, let's go into it. I guess the big question everybody has is, what is a face shell? They're like this. It's a blank Spidey mask. A face shell is a hard plastic shell that you wear on top of your face but under your fabric mask. A Spider-Man mask isn't just one single piece like they make it seem in the movies. You technically have 3 pieces. You have the actual shell that you wear on your face, the detachable lenses that go on top, and then between the two, you have the fabric mask. In the movies, they kind of deceive us and they make it seem like this is only what you need. You only need the mask that have the lenses on. But you'll come to find that in practice, that doesn't work as well as you think it would. Given the fact that this is a skin-tight Lycra suit, it's going to compress to pretty much every part of your body, and that includes your face. So your cheeks, your chin, your nose, your lips, everything. The mask will compress to that. That's why they slide in the face shell, to give you that nice shape, to prevent it from hugging onto the organic parts of your face. Now, I know what you're thinking. Miles, I've seen all the Spider-Man movies and I see when they just pull the mask off, there's no shell. Well, yeah, of course not. The actual in-universe character Spider-Man doesn't wear a face shell. He just wears a mask over his face. However, in order to get that perfect seamless Spider-Man shape look, unfortunately not every human on the planet has that perfect chiseled jawline that Peter Parker has, or that nice nose structure that Miles Morales has. We don't have these perfect features to make the mask look as good as it does. And also, it would be physically impossible to wear a mask like this and not have it hug your lips. That's always the weirdest thing, is when you have the lip hug. So, what they do in the movies is the actors actually do wear the face shell, and I'll throw a couple pictures of behind the scenes to show you these actors wearing the face shells. They wear the face shells in these Spider-Man scenes. When they take the mask off, obviously they're Peter Parker, but that in between, that transition phase between the two, it's done very trickily. They do editing, VFX, or timing their shots perfectly to make it look like it's not there. If you look at this scene from Spider-Man 2 in the train scene, you can see before the camera cuts, he has the face shell on. Later, the camera cuts to when he pulls the mask off, but if you pause it right here, you can kind of see it looks really goofy, and the reason it looks goofy is because Tobey is not wearing the shell. He just had the mask on because he had to pull it back off. That's why they cut the scene. There's that cut in between so that before they cut, he's wearing the shell. After they cut, he's not wearing the shell, but he whips the mask off. Or like in this scene from Far From Home, Tom isn't wearing a shell, however, they CGI the fact that he's pulling the mask off. If you look really quickly, there's a cut. He's wearing the shell when he walks in. When he goes to grab it, there's a cut, and then it's a CG mask he pulls over his head. They're very good about hiding this. And the reason for that is simple. They don't want us to know there's a shell under it because it ruins the immersion. However, in terms of cosplay, it's a little bit different from movie production. We need to get the best immersion out of our viewer. A lot of people who see me don't expect the fact that there's a plastic shell under my face. So, if you think that I don't want to wear a face shell because the actors don't worry, they all do. That's how you get the look, that's how you get the face, and that's how the lenses don't morph around and move with your face. On top of the actors using it, almost every cosplayer who puts a Spider-Man mask on like this wears a face shell. Whether you can see it or you can't, most of them wear a face shell. So what are some benefits of wearing a Spider-Man face shell? Well, there are actually a lot of them. Number one, it gives you that perfect Spider-Man look. Number two, you don't have to worry about the lighting or the suit catching the wrong angle. Everyone has a good angle or a bad angle. You don't have to worry about that because the shell is structured in a way where there aren't bad angles of that shell. You're almost always going to get a good look. A couple other things, like I said, the lenses stay in place, your webbing stays in place, you have a chiseled jawline like that. Sometimes your ear will pop through. And a big benefit is you don't even feel like you're wearing one. When I'm wearing a Spider-Man mask, wearing the shell is part of the mask. So I'm not even burdened by the fact that there's a plastic shell on my face, because it feels natural to me. It might seem like really daunting, like, oh, you have to wear a plastic shell above your face, but it's actually not as difficult as you might think. And like I said, once you put it on, sometimes you hardly notice that it's ever there. It's thin enough and breathable enough that you won't even notice. Breaking it down, quick crash course. Obviously, we just went over all of that, but the face shell is the hard plastic shell that you wear between the fabric and your face. You wear it to get the perfect Spider-Man look, and your lens style is dependent on which Spider-Man mask you are going for. That leads us into the next topic of the style of shells. So let's check out some of the shells I have. So, like I said earlier, the shell design you get and the lens structure you get is going to be dependent on the style of Spider-Man you're going for. Not every Spider-Man shell or character looks the same, and you want to pay attention to that when you're getting your shell. The one I use all the time, and the one that is probably most recognizable to me if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram and you see just my normal posts, is this mask. This one is a bit of a mix, and it's the one I choose to wear the most just because it's my favorite design. It is the PS4 designed advanced shell with the advanced lenses and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 print. I went with that just because the PS4 print, I don't like how thick the webbing is. I like the silver webbing on this one, and it fits the best. So this is the one that I wear all the time that people know about. But depending on the cosplay I'm going for, I'm gonna need to switch it up. Of course, I have the two standard print costume shells, where if you've seen those print costume videos I've made about how to order your shell, it explains that these are the two standard shells they have. I have them in two different colors, black lenses and red. Black, obviously, for Peter Parker before I had this nice one, or for like Venom or symbiote stuff. Red for Miles Morales, whether it's Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse. And then, of course, you have one of the more famous ones, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, with the bug-eye lenses, reflective mirrors, and that same kind of print we were talking about earlier. I have two prints of that because, you know, Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider. This one is equipped with magnets on the top that I can apply the Spider-Punk spikes to. So this is specific for Spider-Punk. I also have my unfinished shell for my Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider, which eventually is going to happen, but this is currently the only unfinished one in my collection because I don't have the Ben Reilly suit yet. But when I do, this shell will be different. These will be painted black, we'll have mesh behind it, it'll have the strap and everything. But this is the raw shell, so you can kind of see how it looks before anything fancy is done to it. We also have this fossil, my first ever face shell, which was made out of cardboard, tape, and hot glue. So, for all you people out there who say that you don't have the money for a Spider-Man face shell, or you don't want to drop the money, or you don't know where to get one, neither did I at first, but I wasn't going to use that excuse. I made my own shell. Now, be that as it may, it is still a very crappy shell, it is not very good, and I would never use this, because I have nicer ones now. But when I started off, I made this work because I didn't have any money. So, eventually I'll make a video breaking down how you can make your own, so if you are on a budget and you don't want to spend the money for the face shell, no worries at all, I'll show you how to make one like this. And it's lasted me pretty long. Like, obviously I've had to retape it to redo a couple things or add different lens styles on it. Like, this is a new cardboard lens. But for a quick build that didn't cost me any money, it's worth it. So I'm definitely going to go into how to build this yourself for the people who don't want to drop the money or aren't sure about it or are on a budget. Don't worry, you don't have to drop the money on a shell. You can make your own to start off. There's always a way. Like I said, on top of the shells, you have your other pieces. You have your fabric masks. The fabric masks have the open eye holes that slide onto the mask itself, like this, and then when you take the lenses off, you can see the eye hole. So the mask itself comes with the face shell and the lens. You then slide the mask over, the fabric mask. You then apply the magnetic lens right on there, and you have a Spider-Man mask. All my masks come like this with just the open eye holes, with the exception of this one, my first ever mask that had the attached lenses. If you want more details about the attached lenses versus detached, check out this video about how to order your first Spider-Man suit. It'll go more into depth on that. To quickly break it down, I always use the detached lenses so that I can reapply them back on with magnets to get the best look, and so I can rearrange my webbing. Interrupting the video, it's time for shoutouts. Shout out to Demo LBR, Spider J, Alexis Dominguez 997, Arch Taylor, Pookie Maxi, Abby W, Scully, XX Reaper Grim XX1, Homeless SpongeBob, and MMS. underscore 20. These are really hard to say. IRL Nick, whatever that name is, I can't read that one. Sunray Helena, Gabo, Pierce, Green, Chotu, Valerie, BMac, Himsa of the Moon, Curry30, and SpiderFam144 for all following the Instagram in the past couple days. I'm gonna start doing that. You follow the Instagram, you get shout out in the next video. Thanks. A lot of times you can also add custom variations to your shells. So like I said, this is a blank one. It has no customizations done to it yet. The only thing I've added is the magnetic lenses to attach them on. But those don't even come like that. You have to attach the magnets in yourself. But some things that people can do is this shell is much more flexy than this one. This one doesn't flex as much, this one does. It's much more breathable. You can have those options and those variations. And it's very dependent on the style and material. This is obviously a much lighter material. This is not 3D printed, it's much lighter, it looks like vacuum form, versus the 3D printed shells that hold a more structure and are not as flexible. You also have the custom option of adding foam on the inside. Those don't come like that, you have to add them in yourself based on how your comfort level works. Now, depending on my mask, I might add foam or I might not. It depends how it fits. These shells are different designs, they fit on my face a different way. This one fits on my face practically perfectly, so I don't need to add in the foam or the elastic strip because it fits perfectly. Same thing with this one. It has thicker foam under the eyes. All of them have different ways that they work and different variations you can add to them to make them look the way you want them to, because they all come in different sizes. They're all different forms. They're all different shapes. You want it to fit around your face the best way, and the best way to do that is to try it on, see what you need it to do. Add foam where you need it to, add a strap if you need it to, and nothing's permanent. You can cut the strap off. Like this one, I cut the strap off because it wasn't working. The foam on this one is different. They're all different, you know? So after going over all that, I'm sure some of you still have some questions. So I'm gonna try to answer some of the more general-based questions and the commonly asked ones right now. Probably the most asked one ever, where do I get a face shell? So pretty much any print shop you go to get a Spider-Man suit has an option for a face shell. Like I said, the guys I go to Print Costume have their standard face shell like this that I use for Miles Morales. It's a good starting point if you don't know what design you want, and you want to get just a face shell that works for whatever you're using it for. However, they don't have a lot of variation. That's the downside. Other print shops, probably like RPC, Hero Stime, all of those that make Spider-Man suits probably have their own generic shell as well. Feel free to look into those and see what they offer. However, the best option to go for is a custom vendor. You can go anywhere. You can go on Etsy, Instagram, Facebook Marketplace if you have that, or even sometimes TikTok, and you can find other cosplayers or creators who create Spider-Man face shells specific to the character you're going for. The one I'm wearing right now was 3D printed by my friend Matthew DC on Instagram. I'll leave his link down below. Highly recommend. He also threw in this one because I bought him in a bundle pair. This one was given to me by a cosplay friend who didn't want his shell anymore, so I bought it off of him. This one was bought off of Etsy. There's a bunch of different places you can go to get a Spider-Man face shell. There's never just gonna be one option for you. There's a bunch of places. My top recommended spots are obviously Etsy, or go on Instagram and find someone who 3D prints these shells and can get it to you, to your custom head measurements and everything. This is custom printed to my face. That's probably why it fits me so well. Or, like I said, if you don't wanna buy the shell right away, you can make a shell. It's crappy, but it works. I built this out of a cereal box and hot glue over a weekend. You can make a shell if you don't want to buy one. Again, I'll make that video to show you exactly how to do it, but for now, just take my word for it. You can make a shell and it will actually work. Here's an image of me wearing that shell, and you can see how it doesn't look perfect, but it works. Do you need a face shell? Well, the short answer is no. You don't definitively need a face shell to be a Spider-Man cosplayer. Anyone can wear the mask and there's no restrictions on anything. Height, age, race, gender, anything. There's no restrictions on that. There's no restrictions on what suit you want to wear, who wears that suit, what it wants to look like with the face shell. You can mix and match all around. It doesn't matter, okay? You're free to do whatever you like. However, for people who are looking to bring their Spider-Man cosplays to the next level, get a higher level of screen accuracy, or just get a higher level of quality within the mask itself, I would highly point them in the direction of recommending a face shell. I know there's a lot of people who don't like the face shells, who don't want to wear it, who just use their normal face, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not what I do. I personally prefer the face shell because it gets you the look you're going for. But again, it's completely up to you. No one can force you to wear one, and you don't have to wear one. This is just if you want to wear one, how to go about doing that. So no, they're not required, but I highly recommend them. At your personal preference, of course, you know? More power to you. What if I wear glasses under my mask? Will they fit? No, they won't. You have two options, either get contacts or suffer. That's about it. You're gonna go blind. Unfortunately, if that's not the answer you were looking for, I apologize, but I'm being honest. If you wear glasses under your suit, either get contacts or just go blind for it. If your vision is bad, please get contacts. Don't just go for it. Be safe. At the very most, be safe. But yeah, you're gonna lose a little bit of visibility wearing any Spidey mask. My dog is on the floor. Baby, can you move? For some reason, she seems to think she's a lot smaller than she is. Listen, I love you, but you're big as hell. Anyway, she can open the door by herself. How many pieces is a face shell? Well, technically, in the end, it's 3. The shell, the 2 lenses. In total for the mask, it's 4. The shell, 2 lenses, and the fabric. If you get a kit, there's a bit more pieces because you have the shell, the lenses, the magnets, the mesh, all that. But in total, when you're looking at a mask like this, you got 4 pieces. 2 lenses, 1 shell, 1 mask. So it's actually 4 pieces that make up a Spider-Man mask. This damn movie has lied to us. Can you breathe under the mask? Actually, yeah, you can breathe pretty well. I can wear this mask for a decent amount of time. The longest shoot I've gone on was probably 6 hours where I did not take my mask off, and I was wearing it the entire time. Obviously, yeah, I can get water. I'll lift it up to get water or something, but in terms of wearing the mask all the time, you can breathe pretty well. While these might be a plastic shell you're wearing over your head, they're not super thick. They're pretty thin, and they all come with these breathable holes that you can kind of breathe through to get some ventilation. Some people have the holes all up and they drill them all the way through to give the most ventilation possible. Again, it's a customization option you can go for, more power to you. But I can breathe perfectly fine with this one, not much of an issue. Does it muffle your voice? Well, kind of. If you talk quiet or you have kind of a more minimalistic voice, it'll muffle your voice a little bit. But if you project outward and you talk outward to people and you have a more enthusiastic tone, it doesn't muffle it too bad. You just gotta speak through the shell. Right now I have a mic on, so it doesn't really replicate it too well, but you'll notice that my voice here versus my voice in like my video essays are different because I'm not wearing the mask for that. So there is a bit of muffle, but if you speak profoundly enough and loud enough, you're fine. Last question, what if I don't need one or want one? Well, it's simple, don't get one. Like I said, it's not required for any sort of suit. You can do what you want with it. It's just a recommendation, it's always an option. Never, ever, ever feel pressure or obligation to get something you don't want or aren't comfortable with. It's just an option for those who might want it. On top of that, if there are any other questions you guys have about Spider-Man face shells or Spider-Man cosplays in general, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I get back to every single comment that is left, or if I manage to not get back to your comment, send me a DM on Instagram and I got you. Just please don't say, hey, like, leave your question so I can answer it for you. Anyway, with all of that being said, I hope I was able to break down a Spider-Man face shell for you in this video, explain what it is, how it's applied, where you can get it, and answer a couple questions you might have. You can make your own, you can buy your own, you can do whatever you'd like, but a Spider-Man face shell is a crucial part of any Spider-Man cosplay, and I highly recommend it for anyone who wants to take their cosplays to that next level. Again, if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, queries, or just want to talk, feel free to leave that comment down below. I get back to every single one. I try my best. And if you have any recommendations for videos you want to see done, let me know, because I love making videos that people want to see, as well as making videos I want to do. Quick announcement, I have a photo shoot in 4 days for the new Across the Spider-Verse movie, where I'll be Gwen. I'm not going to be Gwen. That would be cool. Anyway, well, I'll be Miles and I have a friend being Gwen. We're going to meet up, do another photo shoot for that, so make sure you're following the Instagram to see those photos and follow along on that. Anyway, all that being said, I've said that 3 times. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Do good things, peace and love, and I'll see